Like, that's like someone in a wheelchair saying, I hope there's ramps into every building in heaven. And it's like, well, I hope you're not in a wheelchair in heaven. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Croak and Crow podcast, where we talk about everything and nothing, really, if you think about it. I am Spencer Cartier.
And I am sitting across from you.
Nice. So first I want to shout out my aunt who got me this nice Trinidad jacket after she found out I was Trinidadian from yesterday's podcast. But I like it. It's real big, but I feel like I'm like a Jay-Z from the 90s.
I love it.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OZ.
Nice. I'm wearing a mask and it has candy canes on it. We are using the shield. The shield of strength.
Because she coughs quite a lot and I do not trust it.
I know. No, just today I am coughing. I do not have COVID. I just had another test. I'm addicted to the tests, but there's a lot of leaves and I am allergic to trees. But let's just not cough on people, so.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good habit to get into with or without COVID. Just try not to cough on people. Anything else? Oh, what day is it?
It's
the 16th.
16th.
It's the 16th
of
day
Advent.
of Advent. It's the 16th day. We got what? 4 plus 5 is 9 more days until the big old Christmas.
Yep.
The day that Christians and non-Christians around the world wait for eagerly.
Mm-hmm.
The season of giving. I'm probably going to get a ton of gifts.
I don't think Advent goes along with that.
Advent, you want to keep the Christ in Christmas.
Yeah.
It's all about giving service.
Yeah.
Helping others, spreading love.
Yeah.
Repeating the story of Jesus' birth that started a new wave of religion and allowed for us to be, you know what, if it wasn't for Jesus being born, we wouldn't be here. We'd probably be ooga booga and throwing rocks at walls.
I don't know.
No, we wouldn't. We
were here, but we were just perishable.
We'd be evolutionable. Maybe we'd be here with like a big old golden calf.
We don't have an expiration date now because of Jesus.
0 expiration date.
Okay. That's what it is. So it's the 30... No. Is it the 31st episode?
Sure. I you know me. I can't keep count. Once we got over 15, it was big numbers. Big number time, and I wasn't there for it.
Okay. And well, I guess we could do the...
Do you have a present for the Advent?
Well, why am I always the one that has to do it?
Because I love getting gifts. It's my love language.
I understand.
To receive them, not to give them.
I feel muffled again. I wonder if I should risk it for the biscuit.
We have a big old shield here.
I always throw you the topic. I don't prepare for it either, but at least I know what it is. You know nothing.
Yeah, well,
but now I also have to throw the Advent gift.
Yeah,
it's like,
I assume that's my place here. Is like, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Jay-Z. I'm a freestyle rapper.
Okay.
You know, and
right.
I'm out in the crowd.
I have a present. I have an
Throw
Advent.
me a word.
Okay, no,
I'll make it
it's
religious.
the Advent present.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that a gluten-free bagel?
Okay. We're going to break bread.
I can't eat carbs.
Spencer, remember yesterday's podcast you said you can.
I said that'd be 2021.
We're breaking bread together. Push it through the bankers. There's an opening on the bottom. Because the topic is
bread.
You got it.
The topic is bread. Nothing beats it, okay? Bread, it's like the basics of just nutrition.
Wow, it's dry.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's gluten. This is gluten-free, correct?
It's gluten-free, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's dry. That. I don't have water. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
There's water right there if I'm gonna grab you it.
It's fine.
Yeah, bread. How many times does bread come up in the Bible?
So many.
Too many.
I was like, you can't complain if I say bread.
It'd get me hungry sometimes when they would talk about like manna and stuff, and they were like, it was like bread of the heavens.
The angels.
I was like, man.
Is it bread? I mean, is it bread? They call it bread. Yeah.
I imagined it was, but I was just like, I wonder what it would taste like. Probably like garlic naan from Indian restaurants.
I hope not.
That would be heavenly bread to me.
Well, it would have to be heavenly bread to everybody. Who knows? They said that there's no equivalent of it on Earth.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hopefully I won't get dust in my throat. Dust in my face is a...
Dust in my throat?
Dust in your face, it's dust, is the Caribbean, what is that called? It's a Carnival song.
Okay.
Anyway, bread, the bread and wine offered by...
That's terrible.
That's not very polite to Canyon River. What's it called? Sponsored by...
It's not terrible, but you eat gluten-free stuff.
Okay.
For me, who goes from good, soft,
not loving my hat.
gluten-free or gluten-full bread.
Oh, I see.
We'll switch over to that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, I am gluten-free, and my daughter is diagnosed celiac. I was never diagnosed. But bread is bread. So even though there's no gluten, there's no wheat flour in this or barley or it's still bread. But yes, it's
Well, look at
to be fair, it needs butter or cream cheese.
Look at
or
matzah.
Soup.
That's still bread. Mm-hmm. Unleavened.
Well,
I'm a fan of the
matzah.
I'm a fan of the
crackers. I was thinking
matzo
of the
ball
balls.
soup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, the big old crackers. Where was I? Where did we have matzah? I think it was one of the hoagie shops I worked at.
Oh.
And we had matzah for some reason. Well, the owner was Jewish.
Well, Jewish deli would have matzo ball soup, yeah.
It wasn't matzo ball soup. It was like big
the
crackers.
crackers?
We had it during... Actually, it might have been Hanukkah, like last year.
Or Passover.
It was Passover.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to make matzah hoagies.
I will take that water.
Oh.
If you don't mind. Thank you. It's kind of like just stuck there. Okay.
Yeah, I used to make like little finger size hoagies out of matzah crackers.
No, you're lying.
No, I forgot why I was doing it.
You have something there.
It was terrible.
The jogi.
It wasn't.
The Jewish hoagie.
It wasn't. Didn't taste bad.
Well, it didn't have pork in it either.
It didn't taste bad, it was good, but it's so crumbly.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board on the matzah hoagie.
So, thankfully, they do make gluten-free breads, so that we're not left out of all. I mean, bread, like you just said, features prominently in the Bible.
Yes.
And since you read the Bible, why don't you tell us about it?
Bread, man. Bread was the primary source of sustenance. That's what you thought of. It was like, oh, we need to feed these people. Like, get them bread.
Always with the bread.
It's like the source of life, because it's like what you think of when you think of I need something in my stomach. Bread fills you up. And
first of all, the miracle of making bread.
Yeah.
Let's start your
loaves and fishes.
But I mean, it's who would look at a wheat grain? I'll grind this and then I'll mix. You're a baker. You were ex-baker. Once a baker, always a baker.
Once a baker, always a baker. I have the brand. So I have like a brand on my chest.
Yeah. So I don't know how to make bread, but you mix it with the liquid.
Yeah.
And then you cook it and it turns into a solid. So even just to make bread is a miracle.
Yeah, and you need a source of life with the yeast.
Oh, right.
You need life to create bread, and then bread gives life.
Yeah. How about sourdough bread?
Oh, I love sourdough bread.
What's it called? The mother. There's a piece that you keep. There's a piece you keep continuing to use. Mm-hmm. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And it could be like how old? 30 years old or something. Anyway, back to the Bible. You start it with manna.
And then we're going to switch over to a form of peace. Breaking bread with people.
We broke bread together.
That's
bread. A real sign of
you have bread and
friendship.
And you made it, and that's yours. It's your source of sustenance and life, and you are breaking bread and give it to another. If that's not a bond, then I don't know what is.
Well, the whole Mass is centered on that concept.
Yes, this is my body. This is my blood.
Which will be given up for you. What do you think about that? What do you really think about that? The Last Supper.
Yeah, Last Supper.
And he takes the bread and he breaks it into a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Passes it to the friends. And they're all like, okay, confused, upset, scared. Because it wasn't exactly, the best of times. And then he says to them, this is my body. Which I'm giving up for you. Like, I wonder how confused they were.
I don't know. I think he had a good way of explaining things, if not through words, through feeling. But for me, it's like, the one is the bread is symbolic to tangible, and so it's like this is me. I'm for so long God was an idea. Not you might have a vision or something, but it was like. And he's like you touch this, you can ingest like this. This is real. This is here. This is me. Mm-hmm. And even when I'm gone, you have that symbolically. I can touch. You can touch it. But
True.
More than that, the ingesting of it, because then it's like, oh, why don't you just have a little bread totem that you carry down? The ingesting it is quite literally saying, God is always. In my heart, inside me, when you eat things, the way nutritions work, it goes into your body. That piece of bread in some way becomes you, obviously not all of it, but you get those nutrients, you pull it out. So it's literally like, eat this bread. I'm always with you. And it's that sort of correlation that it represents.
Yeah. How much closer, than that. So that's super, super important. We do Eucharist, which is the whole church service is devoted to that point in time. Yeah. And then the priest, people can't understand it when they're not. This is killing me. People can't understand it when they're not believers. They're just like weird, creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, you're eating his body that's sick. You're drinking his blood. Or you're dumb. Like, it's still bread. Blah blah blah. None of us are cannibals. None of us are really, thinking like, oh, really? Like, I thought I can't see my beautiful candy.
Just take it off.
Once in a while, I need it. You see, I just sneezed. I can't. I don't do well with dust.
Yeah, so many things when from outside looking in to religion and stuff, it's easy to say, oh, you do this, that's weird, blah, blah, blah. But what they don't understand is so much of it is symbolic, It's like, when like, oh, you like have you have crosses everywhere. That's like the reason Jesus died and you're celebrating it. And it's like, no, what the cross is symbolic of the sacrifice and with the bread, it's like, that's just bread that they got from Amazon and they just blessed it, and it's like, yeah, but like that's it's all representative, and we make it what it is, which is it's that conscious thought of God is with me.
It's
like the holy water thing you said.
Right. Every time we take part in Mass or take part in communion, how could you ever, you want to celebrate a birthday every year because it's such a great memory. This person was born. But what better memory than Jesus giving up his life for us? So, of course, we're going to
never forget.
Commemorate that. I was just going to say something about bread, but now I can't remember. Okay, so the loaves and the fishes.
Loaves and the fishes. They didn't have enough to feed the crowd. And God or Jesus said, how much do we have? And he's like, dude, we got like 7 loaves of bread, maybe like a couple fishes, or what was it? Something like that.
I don't know.
And he was like, hand them out. Or did he like blessed it? I don't remember the exact details. Hand them out. And they just kept handing them out, and they just kept on coming.
Right.
But
so much bread. You can't even.
But let's talk about the manna for a second, because that was straight from the angels.
Okay.
That's what they sent.
So just to bring people up to speed, because, we are all over the map with what we throw out there, but that's fine. It's like a Bible roulette. Is it roulette?
It's Russian roulette.
Oh, that's not at all what I wanted to say. It's what I wanted to say was the level that we send out our conversations goes from, what's a Bible to then, something like just start talking about manna, like in people.
Okay. Let me explain what manna was.
Yeah. Explain what manna was.
All right. Manna was, will I get the story wrong? Most certainly I get everyone wrong. But
no,
Moses was taking those people on looking for the land of milk and honey, the promised land. He's got
those people. Is it the Israelites?
Yeah.
That are leaving Egypt. They were prisoners.
Yeah.
They were prisoners. And then he said, or God allowed him to just
let
take
my
them.
people go.
Take them. You're free, and just start walking. And they're not going to chase you. Don't worry.
Yeah. You good. You good.
So he has, you're supposed to be telling a story. And of course I'm jumping in, but it's not some people. It's not a party of 5.
Yeah. It's all of the freed Israelites, the chosen ones, if you will, the ones who were promised the promised land, the ones whose favor lied in God. And
so massive amount of people.
Yeah.
Moses is
leading the charge. And also he doesn't really know what he's doing. I think that's important. Like,
okay.
He would, be asking God, like, hey, like, show me the way and stuff. But like, he was on the journey just as much as they were. It wasn't like, oh, it should be right over this hill. He's like, and then so that's what happened. So the people would come up to him and they say, yo, Moses, like, I'm getting tired. And he's like, we must continue on. And they say, okay, I'm getting hungry though. And he's like, they were running out of food, ran out of goats.
And there's no like Wawa around.
No, it turns out, I looked this one up. There was no Wawas in those days.
Dang.
Most people probably don't even know what Wawa is.
There was no 7-Eleven?
Ugh, don't compare Wawa to 7-Eleven. Moving on. So then they were asking, and I forget, was it like a good thing? Was it like, here you go? Or was it like, here, take it?
What do you mean?
When the manna was sent down. Because I know the people were getting a little too rowdy.
They were getting very rowdy, and they were getting like, why did we follow you?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? We're all going to die in the desert. I would have rather have been a slave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I forget a series of events. If Moses was like, all right, let me go talk.
I think Moses was like, you got to help me out here.
Yeah. And he was like, they are not happy and they're hungry, and it's valid. We've been walking for quite a long time. And so God sent down manna, which was a heavenly bread. And it was the most nourishing and tasty and great thing that you could ever lay your taste buds. It rained down. Or was it just there in the morning? No, it rained down.
So it rained down.
Yeah.
I always try to picture what it would be like. Like I picture the host, which is like a tiny little wafer.
Oh, I was thinking loaves of bread.
Oh my God, can you imagine? It'd be banging everybody in the head.
People in the head.
I don't know, maybe. But I know what I know what I do know about the story, which God said, do not gather it and try to keep it. Don't stuff your pockets. That's not happening. I wonder why.
Because it's heaven bread.
Heaven sent.
And it's there to help them when they're in need.
He said, I'll give it to you every morning.
Yeah.
And you can eat to your heart's content, but don't.
Because that's greed at that point.
Put it in Tupperware.
If you have faith in the Lord, and if he gives you the promise. Yeah, there's probably
a lot more messages in that, right?
He gives you the promise that he will be there every day. And then you're like, just to be sure. That's not full faith.
Interesting. I never even gave that a thought. And now you're correct.
Trust me, I'll be there. I got you. If you don't trust me, then I don't got you. So, yeah. And so they got the bread. I'm still dying to have that recipe.
Yeah.
First thing I'm going to ask at the pearly gates is, all right, what's the recipe for manna?
Yeah, what's with the manna? Well, it's going to be things we don't have on Earth. It's definitely gluten-free for all my gluten-free people out there.
I hope
they wouldn't
not.
do that to us. Can you imagine?
If it tastes anything like that, then that's...
Okay, that's
not...
again,
then that changes the whole
Canyon
story.
Bakehouse. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think Udi's is better, but... enough of you saying bad things about my gluten-free bagel.
I hope, like, why would the gluten-free change in heaven, you know? Like, why can't you being gluten sensitive?
Oh yeah,
change?
you're right. Okay, got you. Yeah, thank you.
Like, that's like someone in a wheelchair saying, I hope there's ramps into every building in heaven. And it's like, well, I hope you're not in a wheelchair in heaven. That's what I think.
I'm of little faith, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Ye of little faith.
Which Jesus said to them very angrily, the apostles, in a bread verse. He said, they were talking something about the yeast in the bread, or there's no yeast in this bread or something like this. And the apostles are trying to figure it out. And they're like talking amongst themselves. And they're like, oh, I bet Jesus said that because like we didn't bring bread with us and all like this. And he got like really angry. And he's like, why do you keep talking about bread? I'm obviously talking about the, these kind of church elders. Like he was telling them to be careful not to follow everything that you hear just because someone's in a position of power. And he was like, many times I think he told them, it's look beyond, read between the lions. Remember that show?
I do.
Read between the lines.
All right. Now we've talked a little bit biblically. Now let's talk literally about bread. What do you think about the keto diet to put your body in a state of ketosis?
Ugh, sounds terrible.
I'm sure it's a fad diet like right now.
Yeah.
Last year more, where you limit your carbs.
I know that, like, I've heard that word, and it's a dangerous word for diabetics.
Ketosis.
Yeah, like, he's in ketosis.
Because you are basically, I'm not a nutritionist, so I might get this a little wrong. You are limiting your carbs, which is like, bread, obviously, the large sum, potato, like starches, even vegetables, very small. And then you are instead loading up on protein and fats. And what happens is after like 2 weeks, your body realizes that it's not getting enough carbs, so it switches into ketosis, where I think it runs down on the broken down protein and fiber stuff, which may turn to sugars, and you get your energy from that, which is probably why it's bad for diabetics. But it's a fad diet. People love it because in the first week you lose a ton of water weight, just because carbs load up water weight. But let me tell you guys, as your lead nutritionist and former dieter. Lead nutritionist and former gold medal dieter. Don't do the keto diet. Don't do any of the fad diets.
No, don't.
People have such an unhealthy relationship with carbs, with these old things. They say this equals calories and calories are bad.
Right.
But you know what this is and what carbs are by definition? It's energy, folks. It's energy. Now, it's good to have good carbs. And maybe switch that bagel for, a whole grain, I don't know, whole grain something.
That bagel is whole grain.
Yeah, so that bagel is fine. I'm saying switch your white bread for whole grain. Limit, like maybe have half a bagel. That's all fine, but people are trying so hard to limit themselves of carbs, thinking less carbs, less calories. What calories are is energy.
Yeah. And
you want to get your energy from the right place, like...
Yeah. Isn't calories like literally energy? It's caloric energy points measurement.
Kcals.
Yeah.
It's that's why when you say like, do you guys know why 2,000 calories is the average amount to consume a day? It's because the average person burns off 2,000 calories just from living a normal life.
Right.
It's like thermodynamics, guys. Come on.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's energy in versus energy out. So you don't need to do a fad diet. Intermittent fasting, it's all baloney. Well, no, it's not baloney. It works for people, but let me tell you why. Everyone,
and it depends what your motivation is too.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm getting to. everyone looks to a different diet, and it's to find which works best for you. But it all comes down to calories in versus calories out. A simple equation. You want the one to be less than the other. So with intermittent fasting, what's great about it is when you limit your time, you are much more likely to have less calories in than calories out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my long rant spiel about weight loss, and just don't stay away from bread. Bread is your friend, okay? It's your friend.
Unless you have celiac disease, and then make sure.
Then go gluten-free bread.
No, well, there's something called, this is an important PSA. There's something called silent celiacs, and you wouldn't know that you had it, but you are doing damage to your intestines. So it's when you get your normal blood work, which they just they're testing for everything. You know how you get that like once a year. Just say, test me for celiacs, it's nothing. They're not taking more blood. It's not a different, laboratory.
Yeah.
And they could easily tell you. And like I said, you think, well, why would I care? Number one. Number two, if I find out, I don't want to give up Wonder Bread. Well, because you do, it's an autoimmune disease that causes inflammation in your body, and it could cause a lot of, besides, it gives me a stomach ache or whatever. No, you're causing long-term problems. So if you think you might have it, or even if you don't, especially if you have a family member, because it's very, very hereditary. Thank you. Check out celiac disease. But you say, give us this day our daily bread.
Look at that. I didn't even think about that one.
That's the Our Father. I think that's the only prayer Jesus said to say.
Yeah, because they were asking
He literally
him,
said it.
They were like, how do we pray?
Mm-hmm.
How, Jesus, please, how do we pray? And he was
what
like,
should I say? Yeah.
Like this.
And he said it. So do you know it?
Yeah. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
Ding!
And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
And how does the new church end it?
And some other churches I found out.
Oh, really?
Glory be the... I don't know. Wait. Okay. Well, they say a couple things different. They don't say trespass. They say debtors. Lead us not to temptation. I have no idea.
Avalon's shouting at the screen right now because she knows it. Okay, so they ended a little bit differently. And you said that they don't say trespasses, but I believe the Pope changed it for us even recently.
To debtors?
No, it wasn't he didn't change trespassers. He changed lead us not into temptation.
To what?
Look it up.
Oh, because his explanation was God never leads us into temptation.
It was something like that.
It
was like
protect me from temptation.
Something like that. Yeah, it said, we're not going to say that anymore. They've changed things in the Catholic. I obviously have so much of the Catholic Mass memorized just because I've sat through so many of them, but not recently. So there's a lot of things that happen in church.
What's the one big change that was a...
Peace be with you.
Yeah, and also with you is gone.
Yeah.
No, it's peace be with you, and the response is, and with your spirit.
Yeah. And that's just one thing.
That was the one thing I knew.
No, you know a lot. So, daily bread is, he said to say it. So is he saying for you to eat bread every day? Because I just have to let y'all know that gluten-free bread is expensive. It's way more expensive than gluten-full bread.
No, that's what I'm saying. Bread's a metaphor. Bread is sustenance. Bread is life. And give us, that is what the day is. It's our daily bread. It's our daily piece of manna from the heavens.
Right.
And don't pile them up, because they'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if they're not there tomorrow, it means you're dead. And then you don't worry about it.
Yeah. I love the part where it says, if you worry, you know, he takes care of the birds. The birds never think like, where's my next breadcrumb coming from, you know, and they're taken care of. So of course I'll take care of you. Now it's so funny that we're talking about bread today because I didn't think we were earlier in the day. And this thing crossed my mind. Okay. And okay, I was watching Bob's Burgers. I recommend it. And, these guys weren't going to pay. They were in the diner and they weren't going to pay. They were going to leave. And then Bob went to the front door and he was like, you have to pay. And like, you know, it's a cartoon and whatever. And the people paid. But I thought to myself, interesting, like if you have a business or something, you have to be willing maybe to say, you got to pay me.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I would not want to do that. Because I feel like every podcast I'm like the frightened person. I'm scared of everything. Like if someone's not going to pay for the burger, they're leaving because I wouldn't want to say, yeah, you are. So it led me to this thought. Okay, let me tell you. In the old days, like when you think of like ancient bakers, it's like a big burly guy, right?
Like me.
Right. But nowadays we think of like, oh, a baker, like, oh, like I baked an apple pie. I'm a little lady. And I was thinking, I wonder if it's because that, you know, you would need to be somebody. There's no surveillance cameras. There's no 911. There's no, like, is it because you'd have to be like, yeah, you are paying me. You're not going to steal from me.
Yeah, I also don't think women worked. But, I mean, I'm sure that was one of the reasons, you know, like that. Like, if a woman said, back in those days, like, I want to work, I'm sure the big burly man would say, and what these neighborhood kids every day try to steal my loaves of bread, what would you do?
Right.
I have to go squash them with my fist.
Yeah. So
survival of the fittest.
So there's that. I will give you another part of the Bible, and that is when the devil says to Jesus, what does he says, turn the bread. Does he taunt him and say, why don't you turn the bread into, why don't you turn the rock into a piece of bread? Or does the devil say he will turn the rock into a piece of bread? What is his?
I think it was, why don't you? Or why doesn't your father? I don't know. That's a long time. Because
he was so hungry and he was surrounded by rocks and you can eat a piece of bread.
Yeah.
But Jesus didn't take the bait.
He said, say what you want. I ain't going to eat nothing if you're the one who told me to do it.
Yeah. Now, people say, like, bread has to be good because it's from the Bible. Okay? It was at the Last Supper. It's in every Bible story. It's in Genesis. It's everywhere. It's the most natural thing on earth. It's the most beautiful thing. It's like I said earlier, it's a miracle. You turn a grain into a slice. But the bread of today is not the bread of yesterday.
I probably think the bread of back then probably was terrible. I mean, let's be real. Like, you think it was better?
You don't know that. What if it was delicious? And you could talk to those. You want the recipe for manna. You should just get the recipe for, you know, ciabatta, whatever they had back. Oh wait, ciabatta is real new, right?
I'm sure.
I think ciabatta is like just been invented.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that back then, you know, year 20 BC, they were
You don't know.
What would they have done? Like, they only had a limited way of making bread. Limited amount of ingredients for the bread. It was probably the most flavorless.
I disagree. Maybe it was the most sweetest. Maybe the grain was sweet to begin with. We have no idea. How funny that you would think that we're better than they were.
I'm saying our bread is.
It's chemicals now. It's a chemical soup. It's
chemicals because they make it taste good. For you, I'm sure it was more sustenance.
Well, you know what? The other thing would be that you would have different taste buds.
Yeah, I'd probably taste and say, bleh. And then they taste our bread and say, oh my God.
No, what is with you? You're a real baker to the core, aren't you?
They taste the bread I make.
Yeah. So
that's bread.
That's bread.
That's bread. Eat your bread. Your daily bread. Don't be afraid of carbs. Or else I'll find you and I'll tell you, eat some bread.
So when you're breaking bread with people, everyone knows that that's just a saying, and it just means that it's like extending the olive branch. Nobody pulls out an olive branch and shakes it at the other person. So breaking bread does mean friendship.
So break bread with people, your enemies, tell them, my enemy, let us break bread. And hope that they take that kindly.
Yeah, it was just so featured in I think it must be in every book, in every way, in every story. Even if it's just what's it called when you're in theater, like props or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the lady's making bread, or they're sharing bread or something. It seems like it's not even part of the story, but it's there.
It's there.
I guess they were big bread eaters. Yeah,
well, like it's sustenance. It's like, imagine what they're eating. Like they'd get their proteins and stuff, but like I don't think they had an abundance of vegetables like in the Middle East and stuff.
No, you don't really hear about vegetables in the Bible.
No, it's the Middle East, so like you have to think all they really had was probably like meat and fish and bread.
Mm-hmm.
And so bread was that carb. Bread was the energy, that source of life. And that's why it's so darn good. I'm going to go eat some bread, folks. It was a little shorter podcast today, but that leaves you time just to ponder yourself about what the importance of bread is.
We probably made them hungry.
If you get hungry, I don't recommend gluten-free bread unless you have to. What I recommend, it's my favorite bread to leave them on. Oh,
I like banana bread.
Oh, does that even count though?
I don't know. Probably not. That's more like a cake.
Yeah, I love banana bread. No, have a nice, warm, out of the oven baguette. That's good.
A baguette, is that like
those
things that stick out of the
French roll, like real thin, but it'll be like crispy on the outside, and you break it.
It's always in sticking out of the bag. Right. Oh yeah, they had them in Spain. Remember?
Yeah, so you have them at Panera. They'd bake them there, and
oh gosh,
it'd be fresh. You crack it.
Yeah,
and
you were
still
at a whole
steaming it.
bread making facility.
Yep. Bread's in my veins, folks. But that's that. We are Croak and Crow. And if you like us, like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't like us, well, then that sounds like a you problem.
Or if you have a recipe for gluten-free bread, leave it below. And I'll try it. I'll make it. I'll bring it on. And you will try it to eat it.
Or regular bread, if you guys want to.
If you make regular bread, only one of us can eat it.
All right, guys, it's been real and it's been fun. And guess what? It's been real fun. Peace.